Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Getting Started training for Tableau Reports and Tableau Server. This is Veronica DeStefano from the Analytics team, and I'm just going to take you guys through what Tableau Server is, how to access it, and just the basics that you could learn how to interact with our reports easily and efficiently. So first things first, why do we even use Tableau? So Tableau is a great tool that we use that takes in all of our different kinds of data, puts them into awesome visualizations that help everybody across all of our digital businesses to see a large overview of how our app data looks, site data, our different goals. It pulls in GA360 data. It's a great big picture view, and it also has the ability for you to have reports emailed to you. Tableau is just a much easier way to understand how our businesses are doing instead of diving into the singular data itself. And it's just super helpful for everybody in a lot of different positions. So that's why we use it. Makes everything very clean and user-friendly. So this training is going to be teaching you a lot of different things, but in general, we hope that you're going to be getting these things out of it. So being able to actually log into the Tableau server, know where it is, know how to get onto it, and then you're going to be able to know how to access all of those different reports that are available to you and that data, and just learn the basics on navigating, filtering, and sharing those different dashboards so that this data isn't just sitting there waiting for you. It's there for you to use and to share to get the most out of it to make our businesses even greater than they already are. And then it's also going to teach you how to use those reports that you're already seeing in your inbox if you're a little bit confused on how to interact with those fully. So first things first is logging on. So that first link, coxdata.coxinc.com, that is the Tableau server. That is where our Tableau reports live. That's how our data is fed into it. That is the home of our Tableau reports and everything. But it's the home of a bunch of different Tableau reports across all of Cox Enterprises. So you have to use CMG / before entering your network username and then password, the ones that you use every single day to log into your machine. If you don't use that CMG / you're not going to get much of anywhere because that is the key to get you into that right server, the server that is for Cox Media Group under the Cox umbrella. So get familiar with your keyboard. That / is above the enter key. It's not the slash that you would use in everyday writing. It's the one that faces the other way. So find it on your keyboard, use it, or else you're not going to get very far into the Tableau server. Another place for reports, including the links to our Tableau reports, is our ASAP wiki. So it's a portal that holds a whole bunch of different reports and information, and that is asap.cmg.int. You're going to want to bookmark that and also that Tableau server link that I said earlier. Those are going to be super helpful for you. The ASAP module, you're not going to need to log into that. You will be able to just enter it organically, and it holds a whole bunch of different things for different reports across our divisions. It has a help area for FAQs and different requests that you might need. So it's just kind of a nice landing spot, but for both of these, you have to be on the network or the VPN, or else you're not going to be able to access either of those. So the network. So if you are in a CMG building, you're connected to CMG wireless or you're hardwired in, you're going to be on the network and you're going to be good to go. You're going to be able to access everything that you need to access, either the Tableau server or ASAP. But if you are maybe working remotely or somewhere else, you might need to have Pulse Secure put on your computer if it's not already. Most machines should already have that put on their computers when you have it updated or when you started working at CMG, so you should be good to go because that helps you connect to the network as if you're within the building or anything like that. But if you're having trouble with that, which you probably have already found that out, you would be working remotely and realize you can't connect to anything in the CMG network, please reach out to CSC and they'll make sure to connect you to that and make sure that's active. Otherwise, you won't be able to access the Tableau server and reports or the ASAP portal. without being on the network. So what's available on Tableau? So as I said before, taxdata.constings.com, you're going to want to bookmark that. That is the link to our Tableau server. That is where it lives. That is the home of Tableau. And so as you can see in this image here, this is what you're going to see once you log in with that CMG / into Tableau server. This is the opening screen that you're going to see. You're going to see these folders, which are projects where our different reports are housed. You might see less than the amount of folders that you're seeing on the screen right now, just because you're added to specific folders based on what division you work in, etc. Everybody's going to be in that CMG global folder that you see in the top left corner of that image on the screen. And so that holds a large majority of our different reports across different divisions. If you don't love this folder view, which is the default, you can use those little buttons in the top right corner that are circled in red, and you could switch to a list view if that's going to be a little bit more helpful for you. But this is what you're going to see once you log into Tableau server, and it's going to just show you kind of the different homes of reports for those different project folders. But we'll get a little bit more into that later. So ASAP, our other place that holds reports. Once again, asap.cmg.int, great thing for you to bookmark. And it's going to hold more than just Tableau reports. It has J360 reports, Data Studio reports, different PDF reports, things like that across all of our different divisions. And because it's like so robust and what all it holds, it has a very helpful search feature that you could search by division. So maybe looking for something specific in television, or you could search by location. So one of our markets, maybe you are looking for Tulsa, or you're looking for San Antonio. Pull up all the reports that have those markets in there, and you'll see them. You could look by topic, which that little drop down is shown here on the screen. So anything like revenue and budget tracking, maybe you're looking for reports that are around digital metrics or around advertising and revenue, things like that, or video and streaming. You're going to be able to click those, and it'll help filter to those kinds of reports. Or you could always search just by date if you're looking for a specific time period for when this report would be, or keyword if you're looking for maybe something specific that you're in those reports that you would think to find a specific metric or name or anything like that. Those are all the different ways to search reports to be able to find it within there. So once again, this holds a lot of different things, not just Tableau reports. So it's a good one to just have if you're looking for a quick link for a lot of data reporting. But back to Tableau. This is how a typical Tableau report is going to be structured. So this is what it's going to look like in one of our reports. This is our traffic daily overview report that is housed in the CMG global folder. We'll be playing around in this or other reports in a little bit. But as you can see at the top, we've got a whole bunch of different tabs. So Tableau reports are put together kind of like Excel workbooks with different worksheets in them that are going to house different types of views of data. So they're called views. We'll show you a little bit more about those later. But you use those different tabs to click through in that singular workbook, that report, to see different cuts of the data, different views, different ways to see it, which for this one you could see got a newspaper summary, a TV summary, and a radio summary with different views of the data. Then in the middle, or the actual meat of the report, is the results. So you get to those different results by using those filters that are on the right-hand side. So filters are going to be very important, and we'll dive into those a lot more. But filters are what help you get to the information that you want to see. So using filters will then populate those results into the middle of what you want to see. And then at the bottom there is one element of reports that we use a decent amount, and it's the interactive line. And it's a great complement to a lot of our tables or charts that we might have on these reports, because it shows more overall trends, well then that complements maybe those specific points of data that you have within that chart above it. So this is what a typical report is going to look like. We're going to start interacting with it and breaking it down. So as I said, filters. Filters are the key to success when it comes to actually using Tableau reports. On the top two boxes of these filters that you see over here in the image on the right, those are going to be the ones that you probably are going to be using the most. And they have things like that top box has date. So our date filters in many of our reports are going to have different ranges, like last month, last 3 months, last 3 weeks, this past year, or like year to date, things like that. And then a couple of our different reports or views in our reports are going to have more of a custom date range. And I'll show you how to use both of those in a little bit. Then next is going to be metric. All of our reports are going to have some sort of metric filters. You could pick what kind of metrics am I looking at. Do you want to see page views? Do you want to see sessions? They might have streaming or video, content starts, depending on what the report is. That will help determine what kind of metrics you're going to be seeing there to filter between. And then in that second box, you're going to have some more filters that break down what you're looking for, like whose information are you trying to see. So are you looking for in division? Do you want to see radio? Do you want to see newspapers? Do you want to see TV, etc.? And then we have a market filter. So what city are you looking to look at the properties within? Atlanta, maybe Dayton, anything like that. That's what's going to be in that filter. And then property is going to be, those individual property names. So AJC, WSB, WHIO, Cairo, those different names are going to be in property if you're looking to see that level of distinction within your data. This last filter, the filter on the bottom, the filter box on the bottom, is a little bit more advanced, we like to say. It just has stuff that dives in even deeper to the data and what you're looking at. So that top one is going to be product type. So are you looking at a site, an OTT item, an app? That will help you see those kinds of specific data points. And the product filter is going to have the specific name for that product. So is it Cairo7.com? Is it the, KRMG news app? It's going to have those specific names to determine if it's an app for that specific property, if it's the site for that specific property, or anything like that. So if you're looking to see more granular information for a property. And then site version is useful if you're trying to see how a property performs on specific items of the site. So iPhone, Android, will have the different instant kind of articles. So Facebook instant articles or Google AMP, and then it has each of the OTT apps listed out, like Roku or Apple TV and things like that. So that's a great one if you're really looking to dive into how specific parts of our sites or our properties or products are, how they do in these different metrics. And then we have app vendors. So if you're just looking to see any, CMG related apps, any page suite apps, things like that, that's what you're going to see in that app vendor breakdown. And then content focus is if you're looking to see products that are focused on news, maybe e-paper, entertainment, that's what that filter is going to house for you to be able to work with. But as you can see, filters are always going to be on the right-hand side of our reports, as you saw in that first image, and they're going to be what you have to use if you want to actually see specific data, not just that default all, as you can see in some of these guys over here. It's going to default to this all in parentheses. So using filters. As you can see in the GIF in the last slide and the GIF in this one, most of these filters, you're going to have to do the drop down. You're going to have to unclick that all, that default all in parentheses that it will have, and then click on the items that you want and press apply for any of the data to update. If you don't do that, if you don't press apply, it's not going to update for you the correct way. So that's how those different filters work. Or they might just be some of those like little radio buttons that you see in that metric filter, and then you just click the dot to change which item that you're seeing. And we'll hop into date filters in a little bit to see the difference in those, but they might have sliders to the date. They might have just those different ranges that you can choose from. And then they'll also have for the custom date, it'll have some calendar drop-downs that you can work with. So we'll see those in action in a little bit. And then when it comes to our reports, if you just look at them and you don't actually interact with them, you're going to be missing out on a lot of information. So you want to actually, move your mouse around on these reports because it will give you a deeper look into what these different data points are and what you're actually looking at, especially when it comes to interactive lines or maybe more visual elements like bar charts, donut graphs, things like that. You're going to want to be able to hover over that. It will give you these little tooltips of the specific date, if that's relevant, like especially for these interactive lines, if you want to see where a spike is or where a down point is, and then it's going to give you, the data point for that, the metric, and it's going to give you what metric you're actually looking at. So this is sessions, you're seeing how much it was for that day, the 18th of May of this year. So that is, the main ways that you're going to be interacting with these reports. So maybe you love these reports. You're getting in them, you're loving them, you really want to be able to share them. Well, there's a bunch of different ways to download and share them across your teams or put them in different PowerPoints or things like that. So if you are in an email report, you got one of these Tableau reports sent to you, you click into it. Once you're in there, you're going to see this little bar at the bottom. So in the image here on the slide, on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see this little menu bar at the bottom of the report, and it'll have that download tab. So then you have those different choices to be able to use from that download tab. If you have logged in to classdata.classmate.com, our Tableau server, and you're working within a report, that menu tab is going to be at the top of the screen, at the top of the report, and that's where you're going to see that download button saying, the different options that you have there. But as you can see here in this example on the left of the screen, some of these options look like they're grayed out and that you can't choose them. Well, if you are seeing that and you're like, hey, I really want to be able to choose one of these options, you just need to click anywhere within the report and then click that download button again, and it'll reactivate it. So when it comes to these choices, you have image, which is going to just download an image of those different reports, great for the visualizations if you want to put those in emails, presentations, etc. Data is not one that we use a ton because if you want to be able to have data that you can then manipulate, a spreadsheet of stuff that you could then use your own way, maybe put into your own tables that you want to present, things like that, you're going to want to use that crosstab option. Crosstab will export it into a spreadsheet for you, and then you can manipulate it however you want from there. So image, crosstab, and then PDF, self-explanatory. It's going to be downloading it into a PDF for you to be able to use. So those are going to be the main three that you're probably going to be working with the most when it comes to downloading, quick saving these different reports. All right, let's hop into a report and actually work in it to see what it looks like in the wild. All right, so as you guys could see, sometimes it takes these reports a hot second to load. Our server holds so much data that's being run into all these reports that sometimes you're going to see that little button. I promise you're not that little spiral of death it looks like, but I promise you're not breaking anything. It just takes a little while for the data to fully load. But that's great because it just shows how much data we have to work with. But here is our digital traffic year over year in comparison to goal reports. So as you can see, this little menu bar is at the bottom. That's because this link that was in the PowerPoint presentation, this is from an email report. So this is what it's going to look like when you click into a report from an email. You're going to see the tabs at the top, so you could still click between different views, but you're not going to have a super easy way to get back to the rest of the reports in the server site itself. But still, you can interact as fully as you would if you were on the server itself. So here we are. As I said before, you want to really use these tooltips. Like, look at how much information I've gained just from hovering over this little donut chart. That's going to give you a little bit better understanding of what you can see here. Also, something else to take note of is lot of our reports are going to have some sort of legend to help you understand what the different colors mean. Use it. It will be useful to you. It's usually going to be right around where the filters are so that you could see, okay, this light blue is the actual value over here. Light gray is what the goal value was. And then we had an adjusted goal value that started on the 1st of June, and then it becomes that dark gray. So I just learned a ton about what this report is showing me just from using that handy dandy legend. So as you can see, we just entered this report like normal. So all of our filters here are set as default to all. So we're going to want to change those if we want to see something specific. And then our year, so our date filters, sometimes with some of these reports, you're going to want to be wary. So right now we're in current year of this report. So this whole worksheet, this whole view of this workbook is already pre-filtered to be current year. So if I try to change this to previous year, we're going to see that we're not going to see any data because we're in the current year tab. So the data is already going to just be putting in current year stuff. So let's pop back into this here so we could actually see stuff. But as you can see, this is what one of these date filters looks like. You're going to have the different options for different quarters, months, weeks, days, and it'll change because I changed those different things. And it'll have this little date range at the bottom so you understand what exactly you're looking at. So that's helpful. Let me show you guys quickly what a custom date one is going to look like in comparison. So here we are, we're in a tab that is a custom date. So it has this little slider, which could be helpful if you're into the slider, but maybe you're like, okay, that's a little bit confusing for me to get exactly what days I need. Click into the date range, and then you'll see the calendar. You could click, do something specific. So I'm looking for all of July of 2018. So let's click that and do the 31st. Bam. And now we have it updated to show July of 2018. This kind of tab is in this view that looks like just a giant table, is in a lot of our different reports, and this is one that people love to use the download tab for. So this is one that if you want to download this into a cross tab, into a spreadsheet, this is a great one to be able to use and then manipulate that data if that's something that you're interested in doing. But let's just work with some of these filters really quickly so you understand how they work. All right, so here we are in this report. We've got everything in here right now. So I want to look at, let's look at Atlanta. So as you saw, I unclicked all, so I could just get Atlanta, and I click that, press apply. Now we're going to see all of our different Atlanta properties. So it's got radio, TV, newspaper in there. Now I'm like, nah, I don't want to see all of those. I want to just see radio. I apply that. And I'm going to just see all of those. And if I'm even going to get crazier, I want to get into even more, I'll pick one of our specific properties. So this can be kind of a daunting filter because it has all of these different items in here. That's why there's this handy dandy search bar. So I know I'm looking just for WSB FM, and once I click it in, it'll start to pop up those different results. So I'm going to click WSB FM, apply, and then I'm just going to see exactly what I want to see for WSB FM. And so this is an example of those different two products. So if I went into products, I would be able to click specifically. Maybe I don't want to see the music app. Maybe I want to see the site only. I don't care about that app. I want to see just the site. Then I'm able to do that. Look at that. There's some filters, got all the way down into what exactly I needed when it came to this report. Let's hop back into one of those more visual tabs. Here we are, back here in the visual tab. So it went back to all, so we're going to have to filter into our different things that we want. Again, let's look at a different example. Let's go to TV. Say we want to see how Cairo is doing, so that's in Seattle. Apply. Okay, awesome. And see, because there's only one property within that, it just automatically went to that property. I didn't even have to go down and filter to it. Then I can switch between what metrics. Maybe I want to see sessions. And then we're going to see sessions that way. And then as you can see, all this data updated. Sometimes you might find yourself in a filter hole. So maybe you went all the way into a filter hole, or maybe something similar to before when I showed you guys how if I went to previous year, you see nothing. Sometimes you can find yourself in a filter hole if you try to get into maybe a property that's not within the division that you've already filtered within, or something to that. You can use a lot of these filters are going to have these little funnel buttons. You'll be able to click them and it will unfilter that. But for this case, where you just have to go back to this year for you to be able to see anything. But those are quick ways for you to be able to filter out of that filter hole if you're seeing stuff that you're like, how come I can't see anything? Use your little unfilter out, and then you might have to filter back in. So all these filters work together. So if you're trying to go and look at a radio station while you're like already deep into the TV division or deep into a market that doesn't have radio, you're not even going to see it. Or if you do see it for some reason, you're going to not be able to actually see data populated because the other parts of the filtering is not going to be there for you. So let's hop into the actual server itself so you can see how that looks like. So here is our login screen. It's going to want to try to type it in for me, but I'm going to do some practice with that backslash and type it in myself. So as you see, CMG backslash, then your typical login of that you use for any CMG things that you log into. So your network, password, and ID. Signing in. All right. So as you guys can see, I have this set up in list view, and I see a whole bunch more project folders than you might see just because I work on the analytics team and I have access to a whole bunch more. You're going to see it more like this with these folder icons. You'll see CMG Global for sure, and then maybe newspapers or radio or TV, depending on what division you work with or what divisions you work with. That's what you're going to be able to see. So let's just hop into CMG Global. So now in the CMG Global project folder, there's going to be all these workbooks. These are our different reports that we have in here. So you'll be able to click on any of these. Once again, you could change between these views. Maybe you want to see this quick, if you remember what reports are by what they look like, then this is the way to look at it. You can just change that view so you could see it. I'm going to click this report, and then go back to list. And then once you click within a workbook or report, you're going to then see these different views, which are going to pop up and be the tabs at the top once we click into one of them. So here we are into our CMG digital traffic source and device detail. This is what this report looks like. We've got our filters on the right-hand side. We're in the Tableau server, so we've got the way that we can see where our path is, and we could see, how to get back into the different folders if that's what we wanted to. And that bar is at the top with our download feature that you can use. So, and as you can see right now, some of these guys are grayed out. So let's cancel. Let's click within the report. Ooh, clicking. Oops, I just filtered something within this report. But click within the report, and then you're going to see they're not grayed out anymore. Awesome. For you to be able to choose whatever options you want to use. So here's another example of a report. We've got all these different information. When you have the tooltip, it's got a bunch of different tabs. A lot of this report has custom date tabs for you to be able to use to get the kinds of information that you might want to see. Let's see, what else does it have? And it has the metrics for this, our page views and sessions, like many of our reports. So let's just do a quick filter down to something. Let's say I want to see how, let's look at June we're going to look at an example for one of our radio stations, see what it looked like for them for one of their events. So they have a big event in June. So let's do June 2018. June, all of June. All right, so we're in all of June. We're going to hop into radio, apply. This radio market is Long Island that I'm thinking of, and BLI Summer Jam. All right, so we're in Long Island, and we want to even get more. We want to just see WBLI. Right now we don't see it, because I unclicked everything, we see nothing. But we got to click, so then it will apply and actually show us the information we want to see. Okay, cool. So here we are, June for WBLI. Look at these crazy spikes with organic search. So this is showing us, okay, I know this was right around when Summer Jam was happening. So this is showing that a bunch of people were looking and searching for BLI Summer Jam, and were coming to our sites this way. And then we could see that a lot of people were directly going to our sites. So this was great information for us to be able to use. Okay, this is how people were interacting with our site when it came to our BLI Summer Jam, and how could we, capitalize on this information so that we can make sure more people are using our sites this way. So this is a great report to show how people are getting to our sites, which devices, how they're being referred, things like that, and we can be able to look at our different versions. So let's say, let's just do iPhone. Let's see what that does. So that's going to just show us what iPhone for our app, so Futury, music app, and there's a big spike there directly going to it. People are probably listening in for different things with BLI Summer Jam, and that's how that information works. So that's kind of how you work within a report. That's a quick example of how to get to it. So maybe you want a specific view of a report. Let's hop to a different report. Let's go to our digital traffic daily overview. Okay, so let's say I want to see, I work in newspaper. All right, and for this one, we're just going to see an overview of, let's just look at Atlanta overall, or AJC. Okay, we're just going to see that. Maybe I want to see specifically. Let's look at my version, look at product. Maybe I want to specifically see the e-paper. I'm going to get down to it. All right, so we see this, and maybe we want to have this view all the time. Maybe we don't want to have to click into those filters all the time. So what we can do is we can create a custom view. You can name it, whatever makes sense to you, make it your default, so every time you log into this report, that will be the view that you see. You can make it public if you want to be able to share it with other folks, and then it will be a view for you to see. And then you could also, I created a different view for this one other day, and so then you could build up your different views. Here, click between them, so you don't always have to click through all of those different filters yourself. And then there's always the default view as well. And then views come in handy, creating these views when it comes to subscribing. So maybe you want to then get an email of just that view to yourself all the time. You'll have to be within it, and you could use this view, schedule it for whatever is applicable to you. Most of our reports refresh by 9 a.m., so that's 9 a.m. and after is going to be your best bet when it comes to having them in your inbox. You can change the subject to be what will make sense for you in your inbox, and then subscribe yourself to it, and then you'll get just that view for yourself. But let's show you what it even looks like when you're in your email to get to one of these reports. So here we are. Here's that year-over-year comparison to goal report that we were just in earlier. So this is what it looks like when you hop in to a report. This one, because of how it is, it has the full workbook in the report, so it has all of these images, all of these views. And Here's another one down here, the daily summary. So we were just in this one. This also has all of the views, so maybe you don't want that. But you can hop right in. You want to click it. It's already trying to tell you to click and follow the link. It'll take you to the report. Because I've already logged in to Tableau server, it's brought me straight to being within the server again. But if I hadn't, it would look more like this. As we saw before, it's going to have the tabs at the top, this menu at the bottom. But because I already logged in, it took me to this that way. So you want to click on, when you get those emails, you want to click on those images, because those images are just going to have filters at default all. So if you're going to just see the overall for everyone and not specifically what you want to see, unless you subscribe yourself to specific views that I showed you guys how to do. So that's how that works. Let's hop back to our presentation, go over a couple more quick tips. All right, so there's our report in action. We did a lot of reports in action. Here's our quick tip. So remember, you have to be on a CNG network or using your Pulse Secure VPN. If you're having issues when you're working remotely, getting into the network or anything like that, work with CSC. They'll make sure that you have that Pulse Secure active and working on your machine. But otherwise, you should be good to go. You have to sign in with CNG /. So as you see in that handy dandy GIF at the top right corner, CNG /, then your network credentials will get you into the server. That's because we share that server with all areas of cost enterprises, so auto trader and automotive and communications. They all have part of that server. So you got to use your CNG to get into our part. So as I just showed you guys with those emails, you want to click into that report image that you get in those daily emails. You could actually interact and filter to what you need to be able to see. We promise you won't break anything. You guys don't have the access to get into like the back end with our data or how the reports are structured. So you won't break anything. You're just going to be actually, using the reports to what will be useful for you to see. And you want to bookmark that costdata.costing.com. That is our site for the Tableau server. That you use that login, that CNG / login. You want to bookmark it so you always have it easy and on hand. And then when it comes to sharing or downloading reports or parts of reports, you have that handy dandy download button that's either going to be at the top or the bottom of your report if you are clicking on it from the email. And then you could use image or PDF if you just want an image of the report to use somewhere in an email or PowerPoint. And then that cross tab is what you're going to want to use if you want a spreadsheet of the data to be able to manipulate a little bit more yourself. So as I showed you guys a little bit earlier, you have your options to subscribe. You can click that little mail button, use this view if you want to get just the view that you're on, especially if you created a default view that has your specific filters to it. That's going to be the one you're going to want to use. Entire workbook is going to give you, like one of those emails that I showed you, how it has every single image of all of those different views of tabs. Those might fill up your inbox a little bit quicker. So maybe you want to just use this view if you want something a little bit more specific and not every single view. But I mean, it's up to you. That's the whole point of Tableau. It's very customizable. Then you can use that scheduling, pick a day and time that works for you. As I said before, most of our reports are updated by 9 a.m. Refreshed-wise, and then you should be good to go. Make the subject head what's going to be useful to you so you know what you're looking at in your email. Here is our report schedule, which you guys have access to. These are all of our different reports that get sent out on a daily or weekly or monthly schedule. So all these green little dots are for our daily reports. So that digital traffic daily overview gets sent every day early. The first report, 8:30 a.m., first one refreshed. And then yellow dots are going to be some of these the weekly reports that you're going to be able to have access to. So some of these are specific. So if you are within different divisions, you are in those different project folders like CMG Radio, CMG TV. Some of these reports, the radio scorecard, are going to go to those people who have access to those folders and have access to those reports and that are subscribed to them. So that they'll be seeing those kinds of reports. If you think that you should have more access to more folders or different reports, feel free to email us at cmgaudienceanalytics@coxinc.com, and we'll help you get the access that you need. You might already have it, you might just not know. And then there's a couple other monthly reports that we have, so that go out on the specific days. Oh, hey, look, a hot tip. Remember, when you log into Tableau server to access any of these awesome reports that get sent to you as well, you got to use that CMG \, or else you're not going to get very far. All right, so maybe you learned a ton from this and you're ready to up your game even more. We have advanced sessions that you could participate in. We'll have those different recordings as well. If you have specific questions about maybe specific reports or access for you or your team, email us at cmgaudienceanalytics@coxinc.com. That will get to the entire analytics team. Also, maybe you have a question that could be easily answered. Maybe it's a common kind of question, just Tableau use in general. Check that ASAP help section with the frequently asked questions. You've got a lot of great documentation in there for everyday use of Tableau that might be helpful to you if you think you're missing a single step before you hit us up. The different things that you'll have access to that we've sent out to anybody who's participated in these and that will be up on Digital U, going to be our Tableau user guide, the slides that I just went through for this training, and then that schedule that I showed you as a report and when they hit either your inbox, either daily or weekly. So that is all I've got for our beginning Tableau training. I hope you guys learned a lot. Once again, feel free to reach out to the Audience Analytics team, and we will help you with any specific reporting needs that you may have. And please check out our different handouts that we'll have here on Digital U and TaxLearn and everything like that. Thanks, everybody.